Well, two very different takes in the war on Afghanistan from two very influential people in Washington. President Obama right now reportedly considering a suggestion from Vice President Joe Biden. The VP is advocating a plan to scale back American forces, focusing more on al-Qaeda and the terrorists in Pakistan instead of Afghanistan. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice saying that's a recipe for disaster, telling Fortune magazine, quote, "Our national security interests are very much tied up in not letting Afghanistan fail again and become a safe haven for terrorists. It's that simple. If you want another terrorist attack in the United States, abandon Afghanistan." Marvin Weinbaum is a former Afghanistan and Pakistan analyst for the State Department. And Marvin, you know, you just heard what Condoleezza Rice said. I want to play you what President Obama said 2 months ago to the VFW, because in essence he was saying exactly the same thing. Listen.
If left unchecked, the Taliban insurgency will mean an even larger safe haven from which al-Qaeda would plot to kill more Americans.
Larger safe haven to plot to kill Americans. They're on the same page, and now it seems like a lot of critics believe the president is in this moment of indecision.
Well, yes, indeed, he is. I happen to agree with Condoleezza Rice. I believe she's right, because she's seeing it as more than simply a question of troop surge here, but really a geostrategic issue. We've got enormous stakes in the region, and al-Qaeda and the danger from the extremists there is just one part of it. The future of Pakistan is involved as well. And the danger of a civil war in Afghanistan, I believe, would be catastrophic for our interests.
And Marvin, we've been saying this now for a long time. Admiral Mullen has said this and said, you know, he even kind of referred to the book 3 Cups of Tea. He said, look, the Afghan people have to be able to trust in us. We either say pick the Taliban or pick NATO. And now we're saying, well, you know, I know you picked the Americans, but now the Americans might be pulling out. I mean, what does that say to the people who are in Afghanistan who are trying to fight for their lives?
Well, I think the danger here is that, once again, we'll be viewed as a force in the area serving really basically our own interests, and that we really don't care about the future of the people in that region. I think we have to be very careful that we don't reinforce the idea that we're unreliable power. And I'm afraid that this kind of even the discussion that's going on now is already sending a message saying that the United States is looking for an exit, and therefore, if you're ambivalent about where you stand, you perhaps want to jump in the direction of the Taliban.
Marvin, Martha McCallum here with a question for you. Yesterday, I spoke to John Bolton, the former ambassador to the UN. He feels very strongly that General McChrystal should consider resigning if President Obama doesn't support what he wants to do on the ground there. And now we're hearing that there's a bit of an internal battle going on between the White House and the Pentagon about whether or not McChrystal should speak before Congress, because maybe the White House doesn't want him to say what he's going to say there.
Well, this is a concern, of course. I think there's also some disagreement within the military itself about whether he ought to come back at this point. But the point, again, is if he does come back, I would hope that he would help redefine why we're there, and that it's not just about al-Qaeda. And the fact that we so narrowly defined it to begin with has left, I think, the administration so vulnerable. If it had express this in terms of what, again, are the major stakes that the United States has in the region, I think this is a defensible case, but it's not if our mission is going to be brought back to where it was in 2002, 3, and 4, when we let this get out of hand by simply focusing on al-Qaeda and narrowly on the Taliban.
Marvin Weinbaum, Marvin, great to see you. Great to hear.